It's always
Yes.
right? It's always-
I was showing Justice how I could regurgitate ice cream after I swallow it.
Never.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. I was doing it.
Sometimes it just happens too. You're just like,
Yeah, you're sitting there and it just happens. It comes up.
you have weird feelings, right? You're just like, and then like, I had like a peanut come out the other day. And I was like,
yeah.
why is
This
that
shit
over
happened
here?
to
How
real
does this
people,
happen?
Yeah, that happens all the time to me. I'm like a mama bird. It's awesome.
Like a mama bird.
Remember
Yeah,
when I
I
said it
saw babies.
Gus, and I was like, you're like, I'm gonna feel well. I was like eating fries or something. I was like, don't worry, I'll feed you.
You were gonna regurgitate
Yeah, I
into
was
my
gonna
mouth.
do that.
That's so. You know what?
And I would
I'm glad you're with Jamie because I'm glad he's taking care of you the way he should be.
She's not feeling well, you know. I just gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rebel soul child got a fist ball. I'm a respawn of ancestors, and I'm blessed. They are not him. Tell him fess up. I can check stuff. Hella carefree. Nothing scared.
Disclaimer. This content is not suitable for younger audiences and may trigger those who have been affected by suicide, sexual assault, and violence. Viewer discretion is advised.
Live, Parker. Do it live.
I'll do it.
Welcome to Cheeseburger Soup Podcast. We're live with Jamie, Justice, and Parker Bell.
That radio
That's
voice.
sick, dude.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
That was
I've never done that voice. That was just like, I don't know, let's wing it.
Off the cuff, just really good.
impressive.
Thank you.
10 out of 10. We
What are you
would.
talking about today?
We're talking about 3 things. One main thing, which is crime scene, the vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, which is a new docuseries that was posted on Netflix, like I don't know,
Okay.
a little bit ago.
Yeah, I don't know how long it was.
And I watched it, and I thought there was some interesting stuff in it. So
No.
talk about it. Skid Row came to be during the Great Depression, kind of. It was kind of before that. We figured this out loud.
It was like, what was it? It was like 1902.
02,
Yeah.
which at that time it was called Hobo Corner.
Yeah.
Nice. Like Hobo Hotel. Or
Sure.
Tabo Hotel.
I was like, do you mean? I was thinking, I was like, is there a Cabo Hotel?
Same thing. Same concept.
100% Coke music. Anyways, LAPD. Nope. Okay, so basically what happened was in 1902 they had the Great American Railroad, right? And it went all the way across the U.S. and its final destination was Los Angeles, right downtown in Hobo Corner, which is what they called it at the time, which is a not nice way to say that. So yeah, lots of transient people would be riding on the train. They'd come into LA. They would have nowhere else to go, so they would just get off there because where else were they going to go? That was the last stop, right?
Sure.
So they ended up collecting a lot of transient people because of that, and then it just was made worse by the Great Depression because there was no money, and so people were already becoming homeless because of that, because of the Great Depression. And then on top of that, you have these people that were already homeless that were traveling on the roads. Chawfield.
Okay.
This is a great chat, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
I should have known at least maybe one fact about this entire thing before I came on here.
That's fine. You're learning right now.
I don't care about learning.
Oh,
Justice wants to be the teacher today.
yeah. I am the educator. So anyway, that was one thing that, it's hard. It's really hard to find information on Skid Row because there's just nothing about it, which we were talking about, Parker.
Yeah.
How there's no information on Skid Row, and it's the biggest population of celebrities, and they have the biggest news production kind of in the world.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of anything on Skid Row. Well, because even I've heard of it, but I never knew the extent as to what it is.
Well, I mean, Jaden Smith goes there and feeds homeless people sometimes.
Yeah, there's some celebrities that go. Don't roll them all out.
No, I know there are people who do stuff. They put so much money into this place, but there's too many homeless people in the area.
Yeah.
It's from years and years of systematic oppression, right?
Yeah.
From the early 90s
Systemic.
when LA was becoming the kind of tabloid center where newspapers were like super famous. They were already being like total dickheads.
Is this
to homeless people? They were calling them like dirty and disgusting in the media and shit. Yes.
Yeah.
So the sewer city, is that the same place?
No, that's LA.
So is Skid Row.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't it? It's like
No, not LA.
area,
Sorry, Los Angeles. Or not Los Angeles.
Holy.
Vegas.
As in Vegas?
Yes, that's
Mole
Vegas.
people.
Yeah.
Viva Los Angeles.
Did you know about that, Parker? Did you know that there's like an entire city in the sewers underneath?
No, I didn't. That's super. I want to say that's super cool. That's the wrong way to say that, but like, it's interesting to.
They live in the tunnels underneath like the strip of Las Vegas.
It's like kind of terrifying.
It's like all these people coming and just like blasting money in Vegas and like hitting up the strip clubs and gambling, and then there's like just like thousands of homeless people underneath their feet. It's kind of like just sick.
It's like what's that? Incredibles 2, where like
The mole people.
You know, that's what's gonna happen.
That's what they call it. There was like, I can't even remember where I watched the documentary on it. I think it's on Netflix actually, but there's a documentary about it, and it's called like the Mole People or something.
I thought it was the same place.
No,
I didn't know that's the mole people were. I thought this is super dumb, but I thought mole people was like a fictional thing that was like
it's
actual like mole / people thing. Because I never like.
not actually mole people. They're just people.
I don't know. I thought it was like centaurs and stuff, like half horse, half man, or whatever.
I mean, that is a thing. It's just like they just call them mole people. Just a title.
It's just like a rude way of. It's just.
No, I'm well caught up to speed now.
Okay.
Are you?
So, anyways,
No.
the next thing that kind of happened was, as time progressed, they started putting up blockades around the borders, kind of this 55 block area, and a lot of people were kind of like speculating that maybe it was like a social experiment. This is obviously conspiracy theory. Well, I mean, it could be true. I'm not saying it's not, but they were putting up these blockades to kind of contain the homeless population in this one area. They ended up like building like all of the homeless shelters were there. Every tool you would ever need was there. That's where you had to be if you were homeless. Like you had no other choice. You couldn't even leave because
I think that like
anywhere else.
yeah, that could be, I guess, proof of a social experiment to an extent, because
Not too far.
yeah, like social experiments, I guess, could have been conducted in a setting like that, right?
18 plus.
Yeah, because there's like 15,000 homeless people in a 55 block radius, which is like
It's like 5 marathons.
it's wild. It's wild. Yeah. So then, after that they put a trust in place, like the city and the police, that allowed homeless people to stay in local hotels at cheaper rates for longer periods of time. And so we were talking about like how homelessness.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, I think because we talked about, what was it?
Like the feeling of like hopelessness, and like
Yeah, and I think we talked a lot about like,
of it.
yeah. Should we explain why we're saying we've talked about it before?
Yeah, we recorded this podcast, but it
We screwed up the entire recording, so now we're switching things up by adding this Frenchman over here in the mix.
yeah, we're hoping that
Dude, you're straight from France.
Pretty much, dude.
that was incredible.
Jimmy just eats baguettes for every meal of the day. Baguettes and croissants for dessert.
Awesome.
A little bit of a brain fart there.
Did you?
A little bit. There's a brain too.
Topic.
We always do. That's the way it's supposed to be.
A D H.
Okay. Cool.
I think you're missing a letter there, buddy.
Leave in the comments what you think the next letter will be. leave a like and subscribe if you guessed that it was the letter D. Yeah.
Wait, I want to air high five.
No, you're not cool enough. Get a life.
I don't know. Look at the fit though.
We're way off topic. So yeah, homeless people. We talked about we're talking a lot about like drug addiction being
Yeah.
common, and we're talking about how
Stereotypes of homeless people.
yeah, like it could have been implemented on purpose, right? Like it might not have been a social experiment per se, but it might have been systemic oppression to ensure that the rich stay rich or the poor stay poor, or something like along the lines of that we were talking about.
Yes. I just wrote homelessness doesn't equal criminal, but it definitely doesn't help people not commit crimes.
Yeah.
So basically, I put that, being homeless doesn't equal being a criminal, but it definitely doesn't help people not commit crimes, and often puts people in a situation where they really don't have any other choice but to commit crimes. Like, for example, we don't have to worry about going to steal food to get our next meal. You know what I mean? Like, that might be the only way. You know what I mean? Or like we were talking about how like people resort to drugs. Or like, okay, so I put or you're too scared to sleep because you don't know what will happen to you. Feeling so hopeless that you don't feel like you have a choice but to resort to drugs to deal with the hell that lives on the streets, I guess. Because like there's actually like a totally raw documentary called Lost Scandalous, which is like, it's just some random YouTube channel. It's got like 20,000 views or something like that. And it's actually, the guy went there, and as he's sitting in his car starting to record, he caught some sort of criminal activity on camera. And this group of people like walked up to him and was like, "We're conducting business here. Like, are you filming?" And like was like yelling at the camera guy. And he actually ended up becoming the host for the entire documentary. So it's like literally a homeless person, as it's totally raw footage. Like people are just like shooting smack. It's wild, but it's exactly what it's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They explain like how a lot of them explain how they end up here. And when we had previously recorded, I forgot to tell you, and now you, that there was a guy that I saw like a CNN clip. It was just like the only actual like news casting, like a real news reporting channel. You know what I mean? Besides just like some random YouTuber.
Yeah.
And
I don't know, but you said it now.
To this big man. Okay, let's just go with that. He was talking to this big guy, and he actually worked on Skid Row. He was like, he helped homeless people find shelters and helped them access jobs, provided people with stuff. And the building he worked for lost their funding, and he ended up homeless. He lost custody of his kids, and he ended up on the street. Yeah. And now he lives on Skid Row. He's like that, and that's the story for a lot of people, you know? So like, doesn't
take a lot, right?
Exactly. We just don't know because we've never experienced that firsthand. We've never been in a situation where we've had no other choice but to be criminal.
You gotta think about a place like in America, especially like Los Angeles, where everything's so expensive, right? Like, like in Marathon, like even like you live in.
It's even like Toronto's got a really high homeless rate, right? Like you can, what is it like? I saw there's like someone sent me a video or something of like one of the houses in Toronto. And it's like, I think it's like 3 stories or something, and it's like this small little thing, and it costs like 1.5 million or something. It was like ridiculously expensive, and like if that thing had been in Marathon, it would not have been as close as like, not even close to
going up now. But like the house we live in, 75,000. Like that's like that's like unheard of. But we live in northern.
Yeah, because it depends on where you live, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But like it's
But in LA everything is expensive because everything there is like, it's all in the city, right? It's not like where it's like the GTA. If you're not directly in Toronto, you can go to like Scarborough and get a cheaper apartment or something, right? Like LA is
set up for people to be successful, and if you aren't, then you don't fit in there. Like you just can't live there. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not rich, you can't live there. It's the same as, like, I don't even know how...
they pay less. Everything costs more, and they pay you less. Like, it's just insane to think about, like when you were living in, like, we were living in the Sioux, like, you're getting paid, like, $7 an hour less to do the same thing here.
Yeah.
right?
And it was a shittier job too.
It's just like you can't live on that. Everything's going up, and the wages aren't as pretty. And, you know, that contributes to like homelessness. Like you can't afford to live because the price of everything, food and like all the necessities, shelter, blah 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 blah, is going up and up and up.
It's like
but the wages aren't going up. Like not that long ago, like 10 years ago, $20 an hour was like a really good wage. Now it's barely livable. Right?
Yeah.
You go to LA and you're paying like $2,000, $3,000 for like an apartment. Like that's insane.
Like a studio apartment.
Yeah.
Whereas we have like a full 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house.
Yeah.
And a yard, and you know, for like significantly less than that.
Not even a third of the price.
Yeah. So anyways, so that plays into basically like all of Skid Row, which is it's really a horrible situation that they've just seems like they just keep digging the hole bigger. Like I think they put like $169 million into Skid Row last year, and I don't even know if they helped one person. Hopefully.
Helped.
But like, how about you
money
build some tiny houses and give these people a place to live? Shelter is like the only thing that matters. Not the only thing. Water, of course, and food.
But it's one of the most important things, right? Without shelter, you have no sort of security, right?
Yeah, it's a big factor in the whole scope of health.
Yeah.
And wellness. So yeah, so the fact that the history of this 55 block area is so rough is probably a big reason why the Cecil is.
Oh, 100%.
Which is what we're going to talk about next.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to the podcast. Cheeseburger soup.
Cheeseburgers! Soups.
Jamie, have you ever had cheeseburger soup?
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, man, I better make them cheeseburger soup, I guess.
Yeah.
Get your dad to send me the...
Is there Velveeta in Marathon? Can you get that there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can. The grocery store's not too bad. You got lots of stuff.
I just feel like Velveeta is a weird product. That's all.
No, it's pretty
It's
common.
not? Is that common?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've never heard of it besides cheeseburger soup.
I feel like it's pretty... Anyways, chapter 2. Okay, so we talked about Skid Row, and now we're going to talk about its friend, Cecil Hotel.
Friend.
Yep.
Yeah, it's friend. I feel it's its
nice
friend.
choice of words.
Yeah. I feel like they're BFFs, you know?
Are these my notes?
No. So anyway, the Cecil Hotel opened sometime between 1924 and 27. It's 15 stories high and 700 rooms, and it cost $1.5 million to build, according to Cosmopolitan magazine.
When they build it?
1924 to 27, it says. It opened. So...
would have been pretty cool.
When our was that apartment building burnt down, that's how much it cost to rebuild. You got prices of 1922 in Marathon. Pretty sick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, except it's a lot smaller.
True. I wouldn't know.
This is 700 rooms and 15 stories high.
Oh, it's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Significantly bigger.
The Cecil Hotel's like pretty. It actually doesn't like look too bad.
Look that. Did you say it doesn't look that bad or big?
Bad.
Yeah, like until you get out of the lobby.
Yeah, the lobby's like pretty nice though.
Bring up the pictures, Parker.
Well, I'm gonna.
We need that guy.
I'm gonna bring up. Yeah, we need AB. We need an AB.
We'll get somebody. I don't know how to do any of that stuff, to be honest.
No, I'm gonna insert it. So.
Yeah, you're afterwards.
It's like when I was playing that.
Yeah. Anyway, so pretty much right from the gecko.
Right from the gecko.
It's Getco, right?
Get go.
Yeah, Getco.
Getco.
Go.
No, it's not. It's not the lizard.
So
This is like we're focusing way too much on this term right now.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, we said it a lot. We
wait, how do you say it? Gecko? Everyone's just going
What did you
gecko.
say?
gecko.
What did you say they thought it was?
Jamie's role is producer.
Cut it.
He's like every time there's something he doesn't think we should happen, he's like,
Cut.
You
not
can't
good.
just fill a podcast with
Yeah,
cuts,
yeah.
though. That's not how it works. It's a conversation.
It's my only purpose. Cut.
Imagine if you could just cut that. It's like, I didn't like this day. Cut. Jamie's just there, like standing in the kitchen. We're cutting it.
Burn the food. Cut.
Yeah, he's just gonna be our guest star when he's not on the podcast. He's just gonna hear him in the background. That sucked.
He'll be here like once a month, I'd say.
He can come on whenever he wants. Like, Jimmy's a pretty cool guy.
Not when he works. He
Yeah,
works-
not when he works. That's
Once a month, every 2 months, and then twice a month on the third month. Other than that, I can't be here really.
baller.
So, anyways, we're supposed to be talking about the Cecil guys.
Yep.
Remember?
Yep.
So now we're gonna go through the extremely long list of people who. Well, I'm not laughing. It's not funny, but like we're gonna go through the exceptionally
Those
long.
are really insensitive, and you
Yeah,
should feel
what?
very ashamed for that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Percy Ormond Cook, who was the first man who died at the Cecil Hotel.
So back to this dude.
Yeah. So he was the first person to jump from the Cecil Hotel windows.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And it's never said what floor he was. But yeah, apparently he was devastated after him and his wife separated, and he wasn't able to reconcile with him and his child, her and their child. And then, like a few years later, in 1931,
What year
three
did he
more
jump?
men.
What year did he jump?
He jumped in 1927. So either 3 years after they opened or the year they opened. Not positive.
He was fighting during the war. He just didn't care, or what?
Jamie, he didn't write a memoir. So
This happened in the 20s, Jamie.
right. Anyways, so 1931, 3 more men committed suicide. Then there was like a period, like a break. By the way, this is just people who died. There's like an exceptional amount of crime outside of death.
Mhm.
Like the manager of the Cecil in the documentary actually said that they call the police like at least 3 times a day, like every day. Yeah. So anyway, then 1937, a woman falls out of a 9th floor window.
Falls.
Fell. Maybe. It was
To our knowledge.
that one was determined in an accident, I believe. But then basically in the 1940s, that was when Skid Row really, really started to get its
Take form.
and it became, because there was that trust put in place, the
Yep.
Cecil wasn't allowed to turn away anybody, which it was initially supposed to be built specifically for business people, which is why the lobby was super, super nice. Like it was like all marble lobby, beautiful, and then the rooms were kind of trash because it was for business people to go there and not, like, no one would know what they were doing. So they could get away with stuffs, you know? Then it became,
Yeah, I think I have an idea as to what stuff they were getting away with.
you know,
Naughty boys.
yeah. Yeah.
Prostitutes. Nice.
Prostitution.
Problem.
Nice.
Or fine latte too. Taking a couple
Oh,
homeless ladies.
absolutely. Yeah. Like
Cut that out.
they never say specifically, but American Horror Story did a season on the Cecil Hotel, and it's quite the thing. I couldn't watch it. I literally couldn't watch
Did you
it.
watch it, Parker?
I've never watched. So I start with the first season of American Horror Story. I got really confused by like the second episode. I had no idea what was going on, so I was just like,
Never watched it.
I don't feel like it's that confusing, but
I don't know. Maybe I just stopped watching it for another reason. Me and
it's like
Ange started watching it.
really extreme. Like this, there's some stuff in it that I'm like, oh my god, it's like really hard to watch. And I've watched some pretty like messed up stuff, and it's like, oh my god, I can't even. Anyway, so because of that trust, it made it impossible for them to turn people away if they felt they were going to be, criminally active type deal, which obviously made it like a 700-room flop house. People were just coming there to just do drugs, commit crime, the works. So then 1944, the very first murder took place, which was a woman, Dorothy Jean Purcell, who delivered a baby in her room. Delivered her baby in her room at the Cecil and threw the baby out the window, stating she believed the child to be stillborn. She was charged guilty of murder, but was given an insanity plea.
Like, you could have left it in the tub. I don't know. I just feel like there was a better alternative to tossing it out the window.
I'm gonna imagine she's probably had some drug use.
Who knows? It doesn't say. All it said was she believed the baby was stillborn. She didn't want her husband to know, or boyfriend.
Oh, maybe like she got a text message from him back then, and he was just like, "I'll be home in 15. Can't wait to eat some like dinner or something." And then she was like, "Oh, what am I gonna do with this?"
Let's stop talking about this. Okay.
Yeah, this is.
Then 1944, there was the Black Dahlia.
Good band.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Elizabeth Short. So Parker, you guys can both team up on this to give a little history on the Black Dahlia and what it is.
Short was a murder that took place in the 20s?
44.
Yeah, it was not.
44? Oh, okay, so I was a little off.
She was drinking at the Cecil's bar hours.
She was drinking at the Cecil Hotel, and essentially when she died, it's just a really grisly murder, and yeah, it didn't get solved until very recently by well, it's still technically technically not solved, but it's pretty much solved.
The police department has issued it as closed.
Like an old case or something.
No, it's not. I think they issued it closed now. They're like, okay, it's solved.
Oh, really?
I think so. I could be wrong.
I'm not 100% sure.
It doesn't say.
We got like tons of evidence.
I did listen to it like a long time ago, so like 2 years ago. I listened to like the.
Yeah, no, it doesn't say in there that it was solved. But he did write a book that I listened to.
Yeah, I have the book right here.
And he didn't mention that at all, but he did mention this situation. He mentioned that she was drinking at the Cecil.
Yep.
And that she was supposed to meet someone and then she disappeared. So my own speculation based on like how many serial killers have stayed at the Cecil.
Oh, you know what? That's kind of interesting too. That's kind of interesting if you think about it, because they don't know where she was killed, right? Like, we don't have an accurate depiction on where, because she was killed elsewhere and she was found, and they're like, the murder wasn't done here. There'd be more of a mess. What if it just happened? It could have happened in the Cecil.
Absolutely possible.
Parker solved the case. Close it down.
I never thought of it. I
also
read that bit a bit.
The body was dropped off like quite close to the Cecil as well, I think, but
I can't remember.
A bar behind a bar or something like that.
The Cecil has a bar.
I don't think it's behind a bar. No, she was at a bar. It was like on the side of the road at like
right on like in a park area.
It was like in a park area. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a park area that they found it.
Downtown.
It was like in an alley.
No.
Right
on the sidewalk. Nope.
Right on the sidewalk. It was right off the sidewalk.
Yeah, right off the.
People thought it was a mannequin because of how she looked.
Yeah. Anyway, so that same year in 1944, another man had fallen or jumped from a window in the Cecil, which that one wasn't proven to be anything. It was just unsolved. Then in 54 and 62, 2 more men had jumped from windows in the Cecil. One was a confirmed suicide. The other is still unknown. Then just because we've talked about so many people jumping out windows, a tenant, like a long-term tenant, because they had tenants on the first floors 1 to 6, was all long-term residents. And they had a resident in the documentary, and he said that the higher up in the Cecil you go, the more intense the criminals are. And he said that I don't go past the 6th floor at all. He's like, because you don't go up there because they were throwing guys out the windows. So basically, he's saying that most of these people who died possibly could have been thrown out the windows.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then in 1964, there was quite a famous woman, Pigeon Goldie, which she's in like a ton of, like her character, what she did is in a ton of movies. But she was 65 and a staff member and guest of the hotel. Like she lived there, she was a resident. And she was like, Pigeon Goldie was the woman who went out and had like big bags of bird feed, and she would go feed all the pigeons. She was like super famous in LA. Anyways, she was brutally murdered and essayed, and the case is still unsolved. In the 80s and 90s, 2 known serial killers were witnessed staying at the Cecil during their killing sprees. One person in the docuseries says the Cecil was a place where serial killers could let their hair down.
Yeah, one of those serial killers was, what's his name again? Richard Ramirez?
Yeah, the Night Stalker.
The Night Stalker.
Which there's also a pretty decent docu-series about him as well on Netflix.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I think that's cool. I like the docu-series a lot.
Yeah, so he stayed there, well, he was said to have stayed there during his spree that he was doing in LA.
Yeah.
They even said that he was seen stripping out of his bloody clothes in an alley, and he would go up the back entrance past several people in blood-soaked underwear, and nobody would say anything because all the people that lived on that were staying on that floor were probably like the worst of the worst, you know? Then there was also Jack Unterweger. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Unterweger. He's a newspaper journalist from Germany who was pretty famous in Germany.
Unterweger.
And here, and not here in the U.S. because he had murdered several women in Germany and escaped to L.A. and then murdered more people in L.A. and then was caught actually at the Cecil because he was staying there. And now we get to, if you thought that was messed up, it's about to get worse, I feel. Because then they just transformed their image.
Yeah, that part's messed up. This part's, I think it's really messed up that they did that.
I do too.
Anyways, tell us all about it.
It's weird.
Teach us.
They don't talk. Oh, yeah, okay. So then the Cecil attempts to transform their image. So she says in it, which I also didn't say when we did it the first time.
You're over there?
Yeah, I had to sneeze. I was like, I felt it coming on. I was like,
Plug your nose, you won't sneeze.
it's not like bad for you though.
Why?
Stopping your sneezes or keeping them inside is like really bad for you.
Is it?
This is a break?
Like if you get.
No.
Anyways, who cares?
Anyway. So then they decide to transform their image. But before they decide to create this place, the new owners at the time had gotten a contract and gotten the approval to turn, initially had gotten the approval to turn the Cecil into a Best Western. And they were all really excited for like the opportunity, and they had all the stuff set in place to kind of start the construction. But because there were residents living there and that trust made it so that people could live in the hotels, they weren't legally allowed to evict these people. So they weren't able to change it to a Best Western. So because of that, they came up with this other concept, which was Stay on Main, which was a hostel for young travelers from all over the world who needed a cheap place to stay in downtown LA. So what they actually did was they made a separate lobby for Stay on Main that was like more appealing to younger people. And then they would, like, it was like floors. So floors, I have an image that I'm going to put up. Floors 1 to 3 were the residents. Floors 3 to 6 were Stay on Main, and then the remaining floors were Cecil. So the Cecil had their own entrance, and the residents who lived there had their own entrance, and the Stay on Main people had their own entrance, but they shared an elevator. So it didn't really matter.
That's the part I find messed up. There's no security in that, right? Somebody from Cecil could just go, bunch of young kids are staying on floors 3 to 6 or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, it's not very difficult.
No, exactly. But they had made it so that the people who were staying at Stay on Main didn't know anything about the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah.
So it was very, very deceiving and super dangerous for people who are traveling, especially girls and boys who are young and on their own.
Yeah.
Because being in a new place in general can be dangerous, but then you put yourself literally around 700 rooms and, like, say 500 of them potentially could have people who will...
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
Dangerous.
I'm not saying all of them would have been, but there could have been, it just seems like a lie to me. That
with the history, it's not unlikely that there would be a lot of people committing crimes and doing crazy stuff there, right?
Exactly.
Just because you can't guarantee it doesn't mean you can't make a fair assumption.
The thing is, they know they call the police 3 times a day. So why would you make it a place? Like, why would you? Like, I know you're trying to change the image, but I don't feel like that's the way to do it. Like lying to people. So yeah.
I feel like with something like that, you just can't change the image. You have a trust in place that allows you to not be able to get rid of the people that are sketchy. Like, as soon as that happens, you're kind of just like, yeah, you're stuck as that image. You're stuck as the place where all these people are coming at paying low prices, no ID needed, and, like, they're doing crazy stuff. Like,
she talked about that too, for example, like the not needing ID things. It was basically a halfway house. Like, cops were literally just dropping criminals off fresh out of prison to the Cecil and other hotels in the area because they knew that because they were criminals, right? They wouldn't get ID'd there.
It's just like slapping coat of paint on a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Still a piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
Just fresh paint on it.
Yeah.
Instead of actually fixing the problem, right? They just put a fresh coat of paint.
And they literally
it didn't fix any problems and
put more people in danger.
Happened?
Yeah. Just put more people in danger, I feel. And like also too, there was a couple that was really like heavily in the documentary. They were just talking about their experience because they had come from Europe and they stayed in the Cecil, and they went in there and they were like, well, this is pretty bad, like it's very dirty, it's not clean. He even said that when he stepped on the floors, it was like his feet were getting stuck to the carpet.
Yeah, he said it was like nothing crazy though. Like, he said it wasn't like you were peeling off, but it was noticeable.
Yeah. But yeah, so they were like, oh well, like we knew it probably wasn't going to be the greatest place because it's cheap, right? So they like decided to go for a walk or whatever, and then they ended up in Skid Row, and it's like, like I feel like that's the hotel's responsibility when you are in that area to be like, okay, like like just stay safe. This area is kind of dangerous.
Yeah. These
areas are safe.
I think even if it's not like a responsibility they have to have mandatory, like it's not essential. It should just be decent enough that like where you're situated.
That you're not willingly just deceiving people intentionally for money, and not a lot of money. Like, what the hell are you doing that for?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much...
It's not like they're losing business if they do that either. Like, there's going to be just as many criminals or whatever that are going to use the place.
Yeah. So that brings us to chapter 3. This is the pinnacle of...
This is so you can share your screen for this part.
We'll just edit it in after.
Okay.
We have to watch the video, though, so I do have to share my screen just for the part.
Just get the video ready, and then when we get to that part.
Oh, I gotta put that there. That sucks. Okay, anyway, so before we start that, we're going to talk about her. So she was a 21-year-old Canadian university student from Vancouver who was traveling the West Coast. And she stayed in San Diego and then made her way to Los Angeles. And she was planning on doing the whole coot and caboodle.
How long is this chapter? I only brought 2 beer.
This one's short.
Right.
It's not short, but it's not.
Short-ish.
It's the same as every other one, but
Yeah. The other ones went longer in our first
no,
attempt
it's
at the
actually
podcast.
this one is longer than all the others.
Oh yeah, I remember that because it got to 2 in the morning, and I was like, "Please, let me go to bed."
Oh yeah, that part really got hard for you, but you're okay tonight, right?
No.
Well, you're gonna pretend you're fine.
Okay. Thanks, boss.
Anyways,
Great
so
working
You're
conditions.
fired, buddy. Get out.
I'll make Jamie my full time.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm kidding, Parker. Obviously.
I don't care if you are.
So she was Elisa was an avid writer and used Tumblr a lot to express her emotions and feelings.
Yep.
And her writing is really good. Like really, really nice.
Right.
She talks about a lot of different things. She has this Tumblr blog. It's actually still up. You can actually still go look at it, which is pretty cool. But anyways, so she wanted to travel to LA and she booked a hotel at Stay on Main.
Dun dun dun.
The Cecil Hotel's hotel in a hotel. It's the pig turkin of hotels.
It's the Russian doll
That's what I
of
wrote.
hotels.
Wow.
I don't know why I wrote that, but
The pig turkin.
yeah, I don't know why I wrote that, but I did. Anyways, so Stay on Main was cheap, right downtown, looks pretty clean, and presentable to anyone who seeks a hostel type situation because they have like shared bunks as well as private rooms. But Elisa decides to get a shared room because
And they have a lot of shared bathrooms.
shared bathrooms.
Sorry if there's extra noise when I move my mic. I apologize in advance.
Noise. Well, I can't hear it actually, so there might be. But anyway, so she lands, she checks in, she sightsees, and then she meets the 2 girls she's bunking with in this like group setting. And then she stays there for 3 days, exploring LA, visiting bookstores, shops, shows, and then, dun dun dun, the girls she rooms with report that her behavior is really odd. And they're like, we kind of just want her out of here, you know? Like, she's just kind of causing ruckus. She's making us uncomfortable. So, so they talk about that a little bit. The manager talks about how she, like, came into the lobby and she was like, this place is crazy, but so am I. And then she, like, ran away.
Yeah.
She was writing on Post-it notes, like, get out and stay away, and sticking them, like, all over the place in the hotel. And the girls she was rooming with, then that's when they actually officially, like, reported her and was like, we don't want to stay with her anymore. Like, she needs to get her own room.
Mm-hmm.
So the Cecil moves Elisa to a different single room for her last night, and that's when she disappears. Her parents say that she calls every night, and like this night she didn't call, and it was like the first time ever she hadn't called them every night.
Yeah.
So the LAPD instantly began searching for her. So yeah, any thoughts about what you think might be?
Was she found in a water tub?
He did say he knew spoilers.
That's like the only
He
thing.
did give that
I was gonna say,
disclaimer.
you're like, do you think about Cecil Hotel? I was like, I know something. That's it.
Wow. Okay.
That's all I know.
Well, that's good.
Accurate guess. He just smart. Telepath. Wait, what do you call that? Where you can read minds?
Telepath.
Is it telepathic?
Telepathy.
Telepathy.
Telepathy. Anyway, so they start searching for her, and they go instantly to her room, where they see her room has been cleaned, and there's nothing of hers in the room. So they go and they talk to the managers, and the managers are like, yeah, we do this with every room. And I guess I'm assuming someone was like, well, that's weird. Like, you saw that her phone was there and her computer and, like, everything she owned was there, and you didn't think that was weird? Like, and she was like, well, you know, like, it's not weird because we find all kinds of weird things. She's like, one time I found a snake in a bathtub.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's just wild. Like, that's worth reporting to the police. Like, why would you compare it to that? Why would you compare it to that? Why would you be like, okay, this 21-year-old girl, all of her items are in her room, but I found a snake in a bathtub one time, so I didn't think it was that weird.
Like I guess her. Well, I think the point. I don't think what she said was that bad, because I think the point is that a lot of people left stuff there. Like
Yeah.
that's probably not the first time where everyone's belongings they're just like leave everything here, right? Because there's probably a lot of people that were in like criminal activity that were like, we're
No,
going.
you're right, but it's just
You
a
know?
weird example. Like, a snake.
I think it's a weird example. She could have
Why
said
would
like
you just say,
one time another guy left his all his stuff in the room. Like you could have related to that.
people leave
But
their
I think she was just trying to like explain the extremities of what they find
Yeah,
in that kind of
I get it.
environment. But it is weird. I get you.
You're wrong, Parker. I'm right. You're wrong.
Alrighty.
Just kidding.
Jamie, you're the median now. Who's right?
Who are you married to? Who will make you sleep on the couch?
Who deep throated a mic more than once on this podcast?
Can I leave?
And we're just
No.
jokes.
Can we cut this part out and like just like leave?
No, you can't leave.
If we actually followed Jamie's cuts, there'd be 5 minutes worth of footage.
Every time. Okay, yeah. So then after that, they find all their stuff. It's in storage, bagged, however they normally do it, and then they begin to search the entire hotel. So they start looking through the entire hotel, and they don't find anything. Then they come across the security footage, which they looked in the lobby right away to see if she had left the building from the lobby or any other entrances, and she hadn't. They have a lot of areas where the footage, like the cameras, don't work because it's super old, right?
Yeah.
But they did catch
Elevator footage.
yeah, of her in the elevator. And then that's when the video went totally viral and like all the internet sleuths began investigating, which all of them who really heavily investigated the case were in the docuseries, and they like tell their whole side. So now we're gonna have to watch the video, which I have it ready.
Thank you.
It is right here.
Well,
Okay, here we go. This is gonna be in here, yeah? Let's put this down there. Have you seen this video?
I don't think so.
So yeah, so she's pressing all the middle elevator buttons.
yeah, you can see them all lit up there.
Is somebody holding the door open? That's what I would be thinking right now.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people did think, right? They were thinking that's like she
Some,
was hiding from somebody or somebody was scaring her.
yeah. Or she thought someone was there being creepy creepers.
Yeah. Which is plausible, because like if you spend as much time as she probably did in this hotel, you'd probably get the creeps.
Yeah, it's a bit sneaky creepy, for sure.
Yeah. And then she jumps out, which is a little odd. Now she starts doing the square dance.
Yeah.
Now this is where people everyone thought she was talking to somebody, right?
Yeah.
Because the way she's just kind of
Yeah, and then you can see her arm there. Then she like keeps up in the sky. So it's kind of like people are like, oh, she's talking to somebody in the hall. And then
Well, she's still standing there.
yeah, oh yeah,
She's doing weird movements before. Like that doesn't.
yeah,
then she does the buttons again, all down the middle.
yeah. I never
She's
watched
pressing like every button. Like
all the middle buttons for some reason over and over again. And she's not. She doesn't seem as scared anymore, though. Like she seems a bit more.
She calms down and then she
Mhm.
starts
She starts
this.
talking to somebody and like petting
So a lot of people thought this was like some weird conjure thing because of her hand motions.
type things. That was like
Like
the conspiracy was.
witchcrafty stuff.
Yeah.
Either that or she's filming a sick new music video for Michael Jackson.
The other side of it was like a lot of people thought she was on drugs.
Yeah.
That's
It was
a
drugs
possibility,
or
right?
like on LSD or something.
Mhm.
Some hallucinogenic. And then they also mentioned at some point that there's like a foot here, which it didn't look like hers,
Mm,
the way it turned.
I've seen her leg and her foot.
Can you see that? Can we find that part?
Uh,
Because like from here now, it's just open, right? And it starts going down the floors for the rest of the video.
Yeah.
Foot. There is a foot. Gets her.
Yeah, so like, oh, I can't pause it in time. Shit. Okay. So her, right there. I guess they thought that the way
You
You
that.
don't really see the back of her heel there.
Just
Yeah.
the back of her.
No,
I mean,
but
that's what it looks
okay,
like,
like
to me.
this video isn't as clear as the other one is,
Mhm.
and it looks like
Why
it's
am
a
I watching
weird
the clearer
angle
Video? Should have had
because
that ready, just.
it's on Netflix. I can't get that one. So anyway, then there's like a while, and then the door shuts.
Yeah.
And okay, so then what they discovered. Okay, yeah. So we'll just keep going.
So it's worth noting that down that middle row of buttons, they did discover or they realized that there is a hold door button. And upon further investigation, right? Because you were telling me this, Justice.
Mhm.
Upon further investigation, they realized that when you hit the hold door button, instead of being like 30 seconds like a normal elevator of extra holding, it stayed open for 2 minutes.
And she pressed it twice.
And she was pressing it a bunch of times, right?
Mm-hmm. But that video really freaked out, like the police out, and they really started to think it was foul play.
Yeah.
And
it looks a lot like it. It looks like, yeah, if you didn't know anything about that video, right?
Like there's drugs and there's someone else there that either is on drugs with her or whatever.
Or just drugged her, right? You never know.
Exactly. And it's just like hanging with her, Okay, so then.
They've been there for a while, right?
Yeah.
And I was there and knew where the cameras were. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they investigate the entranceways and find it to be potentially very, very difficult for Elisa to have been able to exit the building in any other way besides the lobby, like the fire escape. It was possible, but there was like a really steep ladder you would have to use, and they just didn't think it was like they
were like,
it
no.
was possible. Yeah.
What do you mean a steep ladder?
Not a steep ladder, but like a rickety, like little tiny, small ladder that was really far, like distance wise. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but they just thought it was possible, but it wasn't likely. That's what they thought.
Sure.
So then they.
Sorry, I just keep hearing people like opening and closing their doors, and I couldn't tell if somebody was knocking.
Oh, okay. No worries.
You probably aren't picking up on the mic, but
no. And then they thought about the roof, and they inspected the roof. They didn't find anybody there. They brought dogs in and everything to the hotel, and they didn't pick up anything really. So they went up to the roof, nothing there, and they looked up how she could have gotten to the roof because apparently there was security footage. Oh, there wasn't security footage up to the roof. But then the hotel said that they were concerned about that because if she went up to the roof, how would she have gotten to the roof? Because there's alarms on the exits to the roof because it's staff only.
Right.
And those never went off, according to them. So they didn't really find anything at all, and then there's really no leads besides that video footage. And then, like 5 days after that, they released the video to the public. And then that couple who I mentioned earlier, the ones that were staying from Europe, they stay there, and it's 16 or 17 days after She goes missing, that they're there in this hotel, and they start to complain that there's black water coming from the taps and then not running at all.
Mhm.
So they report that to the front desk, and the manager tells the maintenance guy, and he goes up to the room and finds that no water's coming, goes up further, and it's happening all the way up. So he decides to go check the water tanks. And then that's when they find Elisa Lam. He said, or he didn't say it actually in his interview, everybody was going on this idea that the tank was opened or closed, that the tank was closed, and that he opened it. So then people were like, well, how the heck? What happened was he reported that the tank was opened, but somehow the media mixed it up, and that is what the police were hearing.
Mhm.
So they were like, well, how the heck did it get shut then? Because there's no way for her to get out.
Right. Okay, I gotcha.
So they were like,
foul play.
yeah. So that they instantly assumed that it was foul play. But there were no wounds on her body. There was no signs of sexual assault.
Struggle, anything.
Nothing. But she was naked, which was weird. Also.
Yeah.
And her clothes were in the water tank with her.
And so, can I touch upon that further? So, me and Jess talked about that, right? And Jess said that she thought, I don't know if you heard it in the documentary or where you heard it, but apparently when a person is faced with like hypothermia, they take off their clothing, right? Like
Warm. You feel warmth. Right?
yeah.
Like you're,
So yeah, we Googled it, and what the science behind that is apparently when you're going through something like that's as disorientating and like such extreme hypothermia or whatever, your body actually feels like it's heating up a lot. You start to feel extremely hot, so you start to take off your clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that could have been the reason she was naked.
That's what they kind of determined. Her talk screen came back clean, and then they found out the information that everybody thought for a long time, not a long time, but like a day or two, that the tank was closed. But he said no, the tank was open. It wasn't closed. I guess they they fact checked the the interview that he had with police, and they saw no, he actually said it was open. It wasn't closed. So they saw on her talk screen that it came back clean, but they were still like, well, how the heck did she end up in this water tank then if she wasn't on drugs or drinking? Like, there was no alcohol, there was nothing except for prescription medications that she was on for bipolar disorder,
Which were not the right dosage. They were too low.
Yeah, she had missed days of taking it.
But that wouldn't explain like psychotic behavior.
So
yes, it would.
Yeah. So her
bipolar depressive disorder can cause like manic episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be like it can that can range from anything to just like the typical high highs, low lows to hallucinations and stuff like that.
Like I'm just gonna like say from my own experience, like in the past when I've had like mental health tests before, like they've asked me about it, they've asked like all kinds of stuff. Like, have you ever like specifically about bipolar disorder? Like, a lot of people think that bipolar disorder is like just like being really, really angry and then being really happy really fast. But it's not like that. It's like long extended periods of really lows and like really, really low lows to the point.
And it comes in different forms too. So it could just be something like.
Sometimes it could be, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it could be that, and then other times it could be a lot more extreme.
Yeah. And so for her parents confirmed that in the past she had had psychotic breaks like this.
Yeah.
And they watched the video footage and they were like, yeah, like guaranteed, like we've seen that behavior before, which is why they were concerned about her going in the first place.
Justice, have I ever told you how I got tested for bipolar disorder?
So have I.
Have I ever told you my testing?
No.
Okay, so essentially I had this friend that I was talking to on Snap, like in grade 11 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was going through my mental health stuff then too, right?
Yeah.
And they said, like, like they have like a minor, I guess it's a minor form of bipolar, disorder.
Mhm.
And so, like, for them, it's just high highs, low lows, high, and they go back and forth, back and forth. There's never really manic episodes or anything.
Mhm.
But she was telling me, she's like, like you like how you've been acting or whatever lately, like really reminds me of how I was when I got diagnosed or whatever, right? So like you're going to counseling, right? I was like, yeah. They're like, you should just ask about it, like, because like then at least you can get tested and know for sure. Because like mine was missed for a long time or whatever, or something like that.
Mhm.
And I went in. I asked my counselor. I was like, so my friend, I have a friend. They're saying that I kind of remind them of their disorder or whatever. And my counselor went, They're like, she went, do you ever feel like really like you play guitar? Do you ever feel like you're really better? You're way better than Jimi Hendrix, and you're like the best guitarist on the planet? I went, no. They're like, then you don't have bipolar depressive disorder. They literally just asked me if I felt like I was the biggest guitar player in the world, and then I went, no, I'm not. Like, and then they're like, oh, wow.
Mine was weird too when they asked me questions about it. They asked
Like, I
me,
didn't even get further questioning. They weren't even like, we're not even, like, no looking into it. Like, no, like, oh, well, if that is a concern, like, just, oh, I like, not that I have it. Like, clearly I don't. I don't think.
but
But,
you're
like,
saying like they didn't really.
there's no test. I was just like,
They asked me like 2 questions, and like one of them was, do I spend excessively, like random times? Do I like spend
yeah.
beyond my means? You know what I mean? Like badly. And like gambling. They asked me like all kinds of money questions. It was weird.
Hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, so then from there they determined that Elisa's death was an accidental drowning based on the fact that she may have been experiencing a hallucinatory bipolar episode. And the world went mad. People have like, there's so many conspiracy theories out there in this world.
Yeah.
I don't know any of them because Donnie Shelp would not be proud of me.
Donnie Shelp.
He would be like, no, girl, you don't do that. That's what he told me not to
Is
do.
this another conspiracy theory podcast?
Told me not
Or
to do
something
that.
like that. You said.
Donnie
Yeah,
Shelp is
like,
just a guy on Twitter.
Sleuths shouldn't just.
Do you want me to pull up the tweet?
Let
Do you
investigate.
quote it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's quoted. Get direct quote. We need.
All right, I got you. Just give me 2 seconds.
I don't want to make him look bad though.
No, he doesn't look bad.
No, he looks cool.
He posted online
He's
for
standing up
everybody
for what
to
he
see.
believes in.
If you think that Donnie Shelp's bad, you're bad.
Yeah.
I think he's standing up for what he believes in, like you just said.
I'm
You know,
totally gonna tag him in this.
dude. I think. Did he say he was coming to watch? I really hope he does.
I said tune in on March 5th.
I really hope he does.
I'm gonna comment on that.
So he said he replied to your tweet, right? Or so he said, or he replied to his own tweet. So he commented, "Yeah, my opinion is she was bipolar, off her
I have to
meds."
read my tweet.
After you tweeted the video, yeah, like the GIF or whatever.
You have to read the tweet. So
do you want me to read the whole tweet feed?
Well, you have
Like,
to.
I thought we were just quoting Donnie Shelp. Okay, so I guess, have you watched the hashtag Cecil Hotel documentary on hashtag Netflix? We did, and we also have some opinions about it. Share yours here and follow to see when and where to discuss our thoughts on the docuseries. Do I actually have to read our advertisement?
Yeah, buddy.
Is that crucial information?
Absolutely.
I think they would have figured it out. Like, I
At
think
cheeseburger, capital S-O or lowercase o 8. That's
anyways.
on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter.
And then Donnie says, he says, yeah, my opinion is she was bipolar, off her meds, having psychotic episode, and probably tragically took her own life. After all, the autopsy showed no injuries nor other drugs and minimal amounts of her prescribed medications, like we've covered tonight. Donnie Shelp is correct. Donnie Shelp is an educated man. And then he says, he replies to himself, and internet sleuths and conspiracy theorists should slow their roll and should not be encouraged. Leave investigations to the professionals. And then I'm not going to reply. Yeah, our reply was just like, tune in.
We didn't put any sleuthing into this.
No.
We didn't put our opinion.
Except for that, we
believe
believe that the Cecil Hotel is haunted and that Elisa Lam was actually
poltergeisted.
Yeah.
I believe that
You're sure.
100%. There's no other explanation. It's just not logical any other way.
Yep.
No, but
Kind of like
Except for the hard, cold evidence.
this whole podcast
Yeah.
is basically like reading off notes, and then that's just like talking about random stuff in between. Basically.
yeah.
We didn't actually talk about much about this. I just told
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Our
guys.
first look, Jamie. I know that this is a bad impression.
Yeah.
Because we literally just kind of read our notes and then went off topic the whole time. But our first
Better.
chat,
So I was like,
that was really good.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I have no idea.
Yeah, this was very scattered. This was very, but hey, this is practice. This is how we learn. Actually, we're gonna get better. Hopefully, I
That's
think.
your podcast, buddy.
Whatever.
This is
Fun.
how we do it.
This is how we. If Donnie Shelp sat through this the whole time, we gotta put in.
Just shaking his head. Hashtag.
Donnie Shelp's just like
approve.
He's like
With Donnie.
defund cheeseburger soup. Anyways,
Like the guy's name is gonna sue us. That's that.
No, I told him I didn't.
I like Donnie Shelp.
But we're gonna shut him. I think he'd like that. I don't think.
Donnie Shelp, go follow
Bring him
Donnie
on the
Shelp. Do I
podcast.
give his at? Do I give his at?
Yeah.
They're like, come
No,
on the
I'm
podcast.
gonna put it in the description.
Yeah, Donnie Shelp's a cool guy. Anyways,
Yeah,
we only think he's cool because he's the first person to interact with us. We actually have no other opinion on him other than those two comments. But from those two comments, I like him. Yeah,
And we creeped his Instagram.
we creeped his Insta. Yeah, we creeped. Well, you creeped his Insta. I actually never knew he had an Insta at that time.
Oh yeah, I did.
Like I never looked at. I just saw his Twitter.
And
Weirdo.
then
Creeper.
yeah. Then we
But anyways, but yeah, and then so here's our first episode thing that we're doing.
he's got some nudies.
Donnie Shelp. I
not-
know.
No, you don't see his nudies. He's
No.
Cut
It's what's the word?
cut it. Cut
It's
it out.
no, it's like
tasteful modeling.
tasteful
You
nudity.
can show nipples as long as there's like the thing over top, right?
Yeah, he does
As long
that.
as it's sheer over top.
That's what he does.
Anyways,
show
but
dick and balls too, as long as it's sheer over top.
Yeah, he does that.
do you see the Tosh.0 thing?
No,
They apparently so there's a video that they got on air like during COVID or whatever because it's their last season before they move platforms or whatever. Last season on Comedy Central. I was watching it with my dad, and this guy had a penis on his arm, and they were actually able to show it uncensored after a long debate on whether or not like they're like if there's no balls you can show the penis. So the guy's arm penis was allowed to be shown uncensored because there's no ball sack. What?
I feel like balls are like less offensive. It's just like literally like it looks like saggy skin.
Yeah, but it just didn't count. It's like what made it not count, kind of.
It looks like
So can you show? You can't show both, but can you show one or the other, or just dick?
I think it's just the penis. But anyways, our goal last time to see because we don't think Mom's gonna make it through the episode. So
Show one.
if
penis.
Mom, if you make it through the end episode, send to either me or Justice just the cool sunglasses emoji, just the cool guy in sunglasses.
comment that as well if you're anyone else.
Oh yeah. Shout out to my boy, the Gladiator, John Bon Joven. He's not gonna watch this.
This isn't your platform to do that.
He's absolutely not gonna watch this.
I tell him
Please watch
I
it,
tell him I
Joe.
was talking about him, so you'll watch it. We'll get an extra view.
Yeah. Tell him it's right at the very end too. So
No, I
you
gotta tell
watch
me like
the
you
whole
have, you have to watch it. It's somewhere in there. I talk about
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
thing. Hi, Joven. Thanks for coming. No one can resist their name being shared on the internet.
He's Gladiator.
We know you're here.
He knows he's famous. You have to talk about him.
True, he is. He is. He's more famous than me. That's for damn sure.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
Sad, like the immortal jellyfish.
That's for another episode, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not talking about that today.
Yeah,
Are you busy Friday?
I have no clue.
Because we're supposed to record another one.
This Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, we gotta record our next.
Just don't keep me too late because I got work in the morning.
Let's do not so late.
Like I can do it like late. Just don't keep me till 1.
The one.
Because I think on Saturday I work at 9:30. I want to wake up early. I want to enjoy my day a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
We understand. Anyways,
Judge me like that, Jamie.
we have.
I get that you wake up at 2. Okay, I get that. Some of us, okay, we don't go to like uneducated jobs. I go to like high-end work at wholesale club.
Yeah,
Where, like only the highest of the high work. Okay, I work meat department. You know why? Because this.
You know your shit about meat.
I seen you with
I'm
that.
just so smart. I actually have no idea anything about meat.
That's a lie. Just kidding. We know you don't know much about meat, except for maybe your own. Got that for sure.
That's your brother, and he's underage.
He's not underage.
He's
I'm
fucking
not
like
underage. I have an OnlyFans.
I have OnlyFans. Okay, anyways, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for joining our first and only episode.
It's not your first and only. Get out of here, Jamie. You're not the first and only. This isn't your thing. Who said he's a part of this?
It's my thing.
Yeah, it really is your thing.
All right, peace.
It's your thing too, isn't it?
No, it's my thing too. But like, it really, like, you've really been the heart and soul.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
You're so kind.
I can be nice sometimes. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I know. You called me the other night, and that was so nice.
I don't even remember. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You just said like "love you," you know.
Yeah, I missed you.
And that was nice.
Mom's gonna be so mad, but don't worry, she's not gonna watch this far into the video. Even if she did watch to the end, she probably like, oh, the emoji thing, hit it, and made my cut. Like,
Wow, here. The bucket hat.
anyways, do you end the recording?
Well, we have to say goodbye.
Bye, people. I love you.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Love you guys.
That was really weird.
Give your audience a kiss goodnight. It's late.
I did.
Get rid of all the Cecil Hotel nightmares. Just
Love you. Bye.
bye.
Corazon. Gun finna jump for the shit. All top when I speak, all cap with the speech till they caught up in the rapture. I'm so out of line with the phrase game. Let's take a break, been a long day. Hit your line, what you fall through with the light sticks. Maybe help me spark the ideas. We got no